Hey there, and welcome to Charting the Course, a podcast all about the people and programs that make Gulf Coast State College such a unique place to learn. In each episode, we'll sit down with faculty to hear their stories, their passions, and the pathways they're helping students explore. Whether you're a current student, future Commodore, or just curious about what's happening on campus, you're in the right place. I want to go ahead and just thank you so much for joining us for Charting the Course today. I'm your host, Daniela Ustaj, just bringing you back for another episode on all things Gulf Coast faculty, seeing some of our different spreads of departments and divisions here at Gulf Coast. In the studio today, I have Paul Bonnette with me, our very endearing representative for all things hospitality on campus. Your title is a little more complex.
Is it? It is simply just the Katherine, Griffin, Boatwright Endowed Chair for Hospitality Management and Tourism Program.
Look, try saying that 3 times fast.
Yes,
right?
I wish I could. Very much so.
Thank you so much again for joining us in the studio
I
today.
love it. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Like I mentioned, you're kind of our representative, all things hospitality. What does that look like here at Gulf Coast? I know we offer it as a degree path, but really what does that look like degree-wise?
So hospitality is kind of one of those, I like to refer to it almost like a rabbit hole because you see it, but there's so many offshoots, there's so many different things. And hospitality is one of the key businesses here in Bay County, but also hospitality and tourism is the #1 economic driver in Florida. And so it's essential for Florida survival. And it is what so many people have, they go to work and do. But when you see hospitality, you may not realize what all it entails because there's so much that goes with it. And that's why I call it the rabbit hole, is because you go into hospitality and perhaps you want to go perhaps into restaurants or hotels. But then again, you may want to go work in theme parks, cruise ships, attractions. Hospitality has a wide variety of different career paths. And so I love meeting with the students and talking about what is it that interests you? Because there's so many different things you can do with it, and you can kind of tailor it to that student. And that's what I love doing, is because not every student wants to go into hotels. Sometimes they want to eventually work for Universal or Disney, or they may want to work for a cruise line. And so we love being able to meet with that student and go, you've seen hospitality, now let's talk about your future career and the goals you want to achieve.
Sure, absolutely. Now, is that because it is a degree, and I believe y'all may also have certificate programs? Is that true?
We are working on having certificate programs as well. We are always looking at breaking down barriers for students.
Sure.
And so currently, right now, it is an AS program, Associate of Science, and it's in hospitality management and tourism. But we will be offering these certificate programs for the future because we understand that sometimes students may be coming back in and just want to expand on their skills.
Sure.
We get a lot of students who are already in the hospitality world that just want to go, I would love to know more because I'm in this one little section, but I would love to know what else there is in hospitality and what it can do for me and what I can do for, my company that I work for and my future career.
Sure, yeah. You bring up a great point about expanding into certificates. I think a lot of people look at Gulf Coast State College and think, oh, it has to be a 2-year or a 4-year degree, not realizing that certificate programs are very much like the unsung heroes of a lot of our support in our industry, immediately in the community, right? Where maybe you don't have the time if you're working full-time or maintaining a business to pursue a full-on degree, but looking at a certificate with a couple of course offerings that give you that more well-rounded niche interest, It really works out for a lot of people's schedule, but it's one that is lesser talked about. I think that's great that you guys are looking to expand them because there's some really good potential there.
It really is. And, I have meetings with the Department of Education for the hospitality curriculum, and we always are looking at how we can make this the best it possibly can be.
Sure.
And, our program and the state of Florida and things like that. And so certificates are a great way to dip your toes in the water. Let's see if I really like this, and then once you're into it, you know what? I wouldn't mind getting my degree in AS, and then I can look at doing, perhaps I want to get a bachelor's degree, and, perhaps I want to expand my career in all these different areas. And it really kind of, you open one door to Gulf Coast and you go in and you realize there's so many more doors that you can open up and go. You really can start here and go anywhere.
Right. Absolutely. Definitely making use of the, I don't want to call it transient, but it's very much that like transfer-ish mentality, right?
Yes.
Getting your foundation with a good quality education that is local, homegrown, and then going out into the industry or into other, markets and being able to apply those same concepts. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and so I love stealing this from Gulf Coast. I regret nothing, and I'll do it again, is the pathways. Now,
Sure.
Gulf Coast has 120 different programs narrowed down into 6 academic pathways, such as business and technology. Hospitality has different pathways as well. And that's what we really focus on for the student is what pathway do you want to take?
Right.
Because you may say, well, I want to go in hotels. Why is that? Well, just because that's all I know. Well, would you like to know more? Would you like to learn more about cruise ships or learn more about theme parks and how they go? And if you, expand on this and you go, you know what, I still want to do hotels, great. You have this wealth of knowledge at how other things operate, and you can put that to use for hotels. And in fact, actually, in many of our classes, we actually teach psychology. We teach the psychological neuroscience behind some consumer behavior. I've got a person who I'm a huge fan of. Her name is Dr. Melissa Hughes, and she teaches psychological neuroscience of consumer behavior. And so we actually incorporate that. Even the most mundane thing that you never realize is that people do or that a business does, it's very intentional to give you a certain experience that they want you to enjoy.
Curious. It's interesting to consider how many layers deep this goes, right?
Yes.
Like we see the outer expression of things that are very much catered to the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's food, it's a service, an entertainment park or a theme park, we see the outer result, the end result, right? Mm-hmm. As the overall consumer experience. But there's so many layers to everything working on the back end. That's why they're so successful or why they do so well.
That's one of the things I love teaching, and the students really enjoy it, especially in our hospitality marketing class. And I always talk about how it's using this knowledge as a superpower.
Oh, yeah.
Because the fact that you are using distraction and you're using things like this so that you can create a magical experience for people, an incredible experience. Because you may be helping a family who this is their one vacation of the year. The dad has been driving for 16 hours. Kids are screaming in the back seat. They're tired of being in the car, and all they want is to start their vacation either here or, in the mountains or wherever it is that you are. And you directly are responsible for helping them create that. And so using distraction, like, for example, if there's an issue that they have experienced, you want to distract them away from that. Here, come over here while we fix this.
Right.
And so while all these things are happening behind the curtain, you're fixing things and you're, making things work. You are with them going, hey, let's have a drink at the bar. Let's enjoy this, activity here. Sure. And so it's all about using your hospitality marketing superpowers for good.
Well, I love that. I love that you very much take on a very practical approach to some of that coursework. You'd mentioned when we started talking a little bit about your more experimental approaches to teaching. Tell me a little bit of what that looks like in like a specific course or just in general.
It's in general, and I tailor the course to these experimental and experiential aspects of each individual course. Sure. So what I mean by that is, for example, we have a lodging operations class. And instead of a midterm test, we have a project. And it's one of my favorite projects. And the students, I always explain why I'm doing things. I never do this because I say so.
Sure.
No, I want you to understand what you're benefiting from this and why I'm asking you to do this. So the student gets assigned a hotel. And they have to pretend to be the sales and marketing director, and they receive a request for a proposal. We, as the audience, are pretending to be a group that are interested in booking their hotel. And so they have to do a PowerPoint and a sales presentation to us to get us to book that hotel. Now, the monkey wrench I throw into it, the curveball, is they have already gone to these hotels. They've taken pictures. They've met with managers. And so in addition to me grading it, the hotel managers are there grading it as well.
Like actual hotel managers from our immediate community?
Like literally the people in all of the hotels that they are doing their presentations on are there as guests and helping me grade it.
Wow. That must be like nerve-wracking for some of the students.
Yes, it definitely can be. And so they go, why are you doing this? Well, I'm going to give you some tools that are going to help you. I never throw them into the deep end.
Sure.
And so the reason I explain why I'm doing this, one is because the hotel managers typically grade much easier than I do. They don't want to be up there any more than you do.
Sure.
So they're going, oh, poor thing. He was great. They were great. They, you know what? They're awesome. And so, they're being able to do that. And then afterwards, there may be 10 different managers there, and those students now get to network with all of those hotels for their future career. So next time when they need a job and they want to work at a certain hotel, they can now go to that hotel manager and go, remember me, I did this project. Now they have an in with that hotel,
right?
Which is good. Now, before they have to do this project, this is where I give them the help. Not only do we talk in class about what a sales and marketing presentation includes, what is expected, but I even bring in a friend of mine who is a instructor here at Gulf Coast who teaches Intro to Public Speaking. And she comes in and gives a special guest presentation and helps them to get their presentation ready. Helps them with body language, eye contact, teaches them what goes into public speaking. And then they get to practice it. We even do a dress rehearsal.
Sure.
So, and we as the class help them, to go, oh, you might want to add more pictures here. Or this would be great if you had this. Or maybe you should say it like this way. So they're never on their own. They're never just like, oh, okay, now I've got to do this.
Right.
They actually get help with doing this presentation and help with public speaking. And I explained to them, I said, this is very important and a very important project, and I'll tell you why. Because in hospitality and in your career, you're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to present. You're going to be out of your comfort zone and you're going to be nervous. This gives you a safe space to start that, to try out some new stuff. Said as long as you know the material, you know the hotel, you're going to do fine. Right. You're not being overly graded on if you say too many times or if you stand in one place and don't move. You're not overly graded on that. You're graded on, do you know your hotel and can you sell it?
Right.
So, yes.
But it's the added bonus, right, of being able to maintain that social element. It's like the little soft skills about like being able to speak eloquently or be able to be confident in that I can see where they're not so much graded on that, but it's an added bonus that they develop those kinds of skills.
Exactly.
Totally.
Those kind of skills, those soft skills I don't want to say it's a hidden bonus because I explained to them this is what you're developing.
Right.
So it's not hidden at all, but it's something that they get to practice on. And so the next time they have to do a presentation or they have to talk to people, they go, I gave a presentation in front of hotel managers. This is nothing.
Right, because they've seen it before. There's something that I'm learning as a new instructor, right, is the power of giving the students as much of a hands-on exposure to your content or your discipline so that when they, graduate through the program, they've obtained their degree and now they're looking at the industry or the community that they're going to be stepping into for the first time. They're not left with that, like, I have the paper and now what do I do?
Right,
with it?
Exactly. That they're outside the door and it's raining and all they have is a paper and no idea what to do with it. Yes, exactly.
But to get to do that like in class, I mean, I can imagine very much we're in the moment. Again, it's nerve-wracking, but the lasting impact of that kind of an experience is a very tangible thing that they can say, well, I've done that before, or I've done that in class, and it is exactly that. It's a like small controlled environment that then makes the larger pond that they're stepping into not nearly as scary.
Exactly.
And that's a really cool way to do that.
It's a fun way, and again, this is just something, I'm always kind of the mindset, and I always talk about as a joke that, look, I'm not a teacher. I'm not good at just getting up there and this is what's on the slides and this is the material. No, I want you to experience the material.
Right.
And so it's always, whenever I've done this project twice, and every time, knock on wood, we're going to knock on wood here just to be safe. Every time the students all have the same viewpoint afterwards. They all come to me and go, I was so nervous, but that was fun. It was like, fun? Like, do you remember how much you hated me before this? Like, this was, and they go, I see what you were trying to teach us.
Right. That like light bulb goes off and you're like, oh, it all makes sense. There's a method to the madness and it all makes sense.
Because you can tell the method of the madness. You can tell what they're learning. Right. But until that light bulb goes off and they go, can you teach us something else?
Oh, that must feel so good, though.
It is. In fact, actually, the students who did that for the lodging operations, I do a project for our food and beverage class too, and they have to create a restaurant concept, their own food, their own menu, their own business plan, their own marketing plan. They've already been swimming in the 2 foot, the 3 foot. Now let's go into the 4 foot. Now let's go into the 5 foot. And so they have a group project where they have to create a restaurant concept. And the same students then come to me and go, can we up the ante a little bit? Can you invite more people to watch us? And I go, you want me to invite more people to help grade and help watch when you hated me for inviting the people I did for lodging? They're like, no, but we see what you did there. And this was great. And so our food and beverage, we actually moved it up to the 3rd floor conference room. And we had about 30 people from the community of restaurant owners, of hotel food and beverage people, and, just different business owners come and watch and help with the feedback of it. Because then I give the feedback to the students and I go, first off, how do you think you did? And pretty much always they say, oh, we did terrible. It is absolutely, because you always think
you're your own worst critic.
Yes, you're your own worst critic. And I go, why don't we see how you actually did according to other people? And I take all that positive feedback that I've received going, they were such an eloquent speaker. This was such a great concept. And I start reading it off and I will go, okay, Jimmy, you said that you thought you were, that you stumbled and didn't talk much and, that you were. Let's look at what your feedback was. Jimmy was such a eloquent speaker. Jimmy captivated the entire time. Wow. Jimmy did this. And so then they're going, wait, me? And I go, this is not my feedback. This is feedback from business. Them. Yeah, from the business owners. This is restaurant owners who are looking at you going, boy, I wish I could hire them today. I literally will have hotel general managers and go, can I hire that student today?
Wow.
In these things. I would love to, I had hotels fighting over who they wanted who they could get from these students because they wanted them so badly.
Wow. Well, that's my next follow-up question to that is, at Gulf Coast State College, we're seated very, very nicely at the foot of the Hathaway Bridge between Panama City, Florida, and then Panama City Beach. And we see two very different styles of touristic industries on both ends of that bridge, right? Both, I think, are absolutely essential. Both very gently play off of each other. But I think it's one of those where you see a very good spread. Can you think of any, and you don't have to name the name of a student, but any specific examples or stories that you'd like to share of a student who, went through the track and then immediately found that work and maybe where they ended up and what they were like as a student?
Sure. So, for example, during the first time, we have a student who has gone through this track. They intern at a hotel, and they're now currently the front desk manager of that hotel.
Wow.
This was, keep in mind, I've only been teaching 2 years. So that same student, so in that 2-year track, they have graduated, interned, and now are the front desk manager of a hotel.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, exactly. And so we have a student who interned because they wanted to learn more about events to help them in their current career. Sure. And so now they intern at Visit Panama City Beach, helping with Pirates of the High Seas Fest and the events that happen there. And so they've been able to take that knowledge and, elevate at their, current career. Yeah. We have students who, through our leadership class and through some of the classes, they develop new skills that now they've gotten a raise and a promotion just because they've elevated themselves with these new skills. Right. And so now they are higher up where they were.
I think it can be really refreshing for some students because they come in anticipating one thing from college. And to be able to put a gentle spin on that narrative and say, this is more about you than it is about me as your instructor. I want to see you grow. I want this to be worth your while. And you have that like gentle attention to detail with them. I can tell with the way that you're talking about it.
Well,
that I think it must be so refreshing for them.
By changing everything up and making them understand that, hey, each class is different. Everything, you never know what to expect.
Right.
Expect the unexpected. So everything I do is a teaching module. The hospitality industry is so unpredictable. You never know who's going to be coming in your door,
right?
What challenges to expect. You have to kind of expect the unexpected. And so being the fact that the classes are so unique and different, and each class is different, every day is different, it's a training method so that when they go into hotels or attractions, they know that, oh yeah, every day's different. I never know what to expect. And so I'm prepared.
Right.
For all these eventualities. So everything is a teaching method. Even if they don't realize it, everything's very intentional.
For sure. Now, I know you've touched on so many great different skills and aspects that I think with hospitality being a very practical field, right? It's something that requires you to be present day to day. There's not much that you can do to supplement the human element, right? What would you say is one thing outside of earning the degree, of course, or earning the experience in the classes? What would be one thing that you'd hope students would take from the coursework?
So from the coursework, I really want them to feel like they've gotten a return on their investment that we've kind of talked about. And so there's certain key points that we use as a return on that investment. One of the key points that I love is our expanded internship program. So at the end of their degree, whether it is their Associate of Science or even this college credit certificate, they have to do an internship. Now, this internship is, I meet with the student after they've taken several of the classes, and I go, now you've seen hospitality in all its glory. You've seen hotels, you've seen restaurants, you've seen attractions, you've seen all this. What area are you interested in? What really kind of draws you in? And for example, let's say that they say it's hotels. Okay, great. What about hotels do you like?
Right.
Front of the house, heart of the house, food and beverage. What is it that I really love? The people element, the front desk, the, day to day, the being able to make, these memories. In one of our classes, hospitality marketing, we talk about a psychology term called emotional intensification. And that is, if you were to receive a gift on your birthday, as your birthday gets closer, you're getting very excited. You're anticipating the gift. But imagine you come in on a random Tuesday and there's an amazing gift for you. And you're not expecting it, and it just is because you're awesome. And it's something you've really wanted. So these are what I call tools in your Batman tool belt that you can use to create exceptional experiences for guests.
Sensationalizes the mundane, right?
Yes,
where
exactly.
I'm getting all of this extra for very little effort.
Yeah.
If it's so easy, suddenly you're attached.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
What we're doing is creating anchor points in people's minds. And so they go, for example, when they are, let's say 5 years down the line and they're working at a front desk and a family comes in and they've been driving all that time. Again, 16 hours in the car, kid's been screaming. And all of a sudden, they come to check in and you have a special gift basket or a special gift bag for that family. It's coloring books for the kids. It's maybe a special mocktail for the parents.
Sure.
And it's just, by the way, we just want you to know you're our special guest for today. And this is for you. And they go, I'm not used to getting anything for free. I have to pay extra for anything.
Right.
And they go, no, it is just because you are a special guest and we appreciate you. Now that emotional connection has been cemented. You've used emotional intensification to create that emotional connection with that person. And now that person, that family is going to go, no, we only stay at this place because they care about us.
Right.
They take care of us. They value us.
You've mentioned we don't have a very large attraction-based tourism area here specifically, but that's not to say that Florida is limited on that by any means, of course.
Sure, yeah.
So to get to kind of help them bridge that gap as their instructor, I think is a very, very great effort. And I love that you're doing that for them.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, like we work with a lot of fantastic businesses. Like we work with Pirates Voyage. We work with Topgolf. We work with, numerous hotels, the St. Joe Company, By the Sea Resorts. The list goes on and on of all these different wonderful partnerships that we've established and grown because we really want the student to experience everything. Right. And so if they move away, then, okay, great. No problem. You've had experience at Topgolf, or you've had experience at, Pirates Voyage, or you've had experience at this hotel. You can take that experience and then go when you are interviewing for a job and let's say that you go and you've done an internship at Pirates Voyage, but you move because you love the mountains and you can't stand the water and the beach and the beauty of it and the white sand. And it's just for any reason, but you decide you want to move to the mountains. Well, then there's a Pirates Voyage there. Hey, I did my internship at Pirates Voyage here. I'm looking for a job. I already know your business model. I already know this. I'm ready. And so now they have an exclusive way of getting in for their career that they've gotten just by being a student at Gulf Coast State College hospitality program.
I think it's a beautiful way to gently plug and wrap that in a nice shell. No, I think incredibly well said, Paul. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's, I just love talking about it. And, the key to any product that you're selling is you have to know it and you have to love it. And I love the hospitality industry. I got started on the most random ways. I used to do, for 11 years, I was watch repair. I did watch repair for that time. And then I got into journalism. I was a journalist here at Gulf Coast, and I've worked for numerous different journalists, for newspapers. And so hospitality was never at the forefront of my mind. And so the fact that that's what I want to bring, that, hey, hospitality is a great career choice. And it shouldn't just be a second, career choice. It should be right at the front because it's one of Florida's most important economic drivers. And it's something that you can, again, that rabbit hole, you can go into, resorts, you can go into attractions, you can start here, even though it's at Gulf Coast, and go anywhere. But in hospitality, you also can go anywhere because you can do, the sky's the limit. You're only limited by your imagination.
Where can we find out more about hospitality here at Gulf Coast?
So the hospitality, start off by going to gulfcoast.edu/hospitality. We also have a Instagram. We have a Facebook page. We always kind of love keeping, potential students and current students and former students up to date on what we're working on. Feel free to reach out to me. My email is pbonnette@gulfcoast.edu, which is P as in Paul, B as in boy, ONNETTE. at gulfcoast.edu. If you have any questions about it, shoot me an email. I'm always happy to talk about hospitality.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Paul, so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you.
You've been a fantastic guest.
If you say so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Charting the Course. Big shout out to the talented digital media students who put this episode together. You'll hear their work in every edit. If you want to dive into podcasting or other creative projects yourself, be sure to check out centerforstudentmedia.com. Or, if your needs are more educational, please visit gulfcoast.edu/digital media. Until next time, go Commodores!